Hello and welcome to the Monumental Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Q. Here we focus on tapping into our fullest potential to become our best possible selves. Each and every Monumental Monday, we will release a new episode that have a word of the week as well as a metaphor, phrase, or quote to get you through your week and also incorporate in your daily lives. If you are a fan of the show, please like, comment, and subscribe to at Dr. Q the Coach on all social media platforms. So this week is really going to be centered around the word empathy. In leading with empathy, empathy simply means the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. It is important to have empathy as a leader because it's showing that you're also human. We don't want any robot leaders around because it's not creating that relationship that you want to have with your team, with your employees, and so forth. So, leading with empathy really can make a huge difference on how your team interacts with each other, the performance of your team, and so forth. So, I'm going to give you three tips, four tips on how leading with empathy can really help you and your team be more successful. So, the first thing is it creates a more cohesive team. When you try to understand how it feels to walk in someone else's shoes, it's showing that you're wanting to have a better understanding of who they are. I'll give you an example. When I have my meetings with my team, we'll meet like once a week, every Monday morning at 9 o'clock, just to see how everything is going. And my first question that I ask them is, how was your weekend? How's your family? How are you doing? And then we kind of get into the work aspects. Do you have any questions, any issues, any concerns? How's everything going? How's your workload? Because it's showing the empathy, is showing, okay, let me understand where you're coming from. Let me see how everything is going in your life, because little do you know how people are feeling really does interact with how they perform. So if you ask those questions, if you lead with empathy, it will create a more cohesive team. So now on my team calls every morning, it's how was your weekend? And then everybody will share different stories from their weekend. They'll tell how everything was going, what they did, what the family did, how the kids are doing. Because we ask those questions. How's your kid? If someone has a sick child, we'll ask questions. Hey, how's the baby doing? Everything okay? Did y'all have a good weekend? Is she feeling better? School starting back? Is there any new first day of school pictures you all would like to share of your little ones? Because it's creating that more cohesive team. It's leading with empathy, understanding how someone else feels, and also making them feel more welcome and open. So that's the next thing. It enhances the communication. When you lead with empathy, it definitely enhances the communication of your team because it's showing them that their opinion is welcomed and it matters. Don't just listen to them, but also make sure that if they have any concerns, you relay those concerns. Okay, I see what you mean with that. I definitely understand where you're coming from. Well, let's see how I can assist you better in this area. If they have any challenges, they'll be more willing to tell you because they have that open communication with you. They're able to inform you, hey, I'm struggling a bit in this area. Can you assist me? And you'll be more than willing. Of course, I will help you because I want to see you succeed. Seeing your team succeeds make the leader look good too. So make sure that you lead with that empathy, enhance that communication. It will make a difference. I will say this as well. I do notice that having that open communication and with just within my own team with one of my past bosses, his main thing was making sure like, hey, how's work? How's life? Because I want to make sure that you enjoy both. And sometimes you don't get that a lot. So that's why I lead the way that I do. And I ensure that my team feels comfortable in saying, hey, life has been lifing. Okay, well, do you need to take a day or two off of work? Like, let me see what you need to do. I had someone who had a family emergency. Okay, listen, go take care of that. This will be here. You have a team. So the good thing is the team is here to back you up. If you need to leave or if you need to take care of this family emergency, go ahead because work will be here. And we are here. You have a team here that is here to assist you and hold you up. That's why it's not one person. That's why it's a team. We will work together to make sure that whatever responsibilities that you had at the moment, if you're not able to do that or perform those duties, we'll get it done. or we'll be able to communicate and say, hey, it'll be done at a later date. But we want to make sure that our employees feel valued and our employees and our team members feel appreciated. It never fails. I remember having a conversation with someone, and they had a family emergency, and it was like, oh well, if you leave, then your job may not be here when you get back. I'm sorry, excuse me. Are you telling me I have to choose between someone that's in having a life or death situation where they're on their way to the hospital and it's a first, first related relative, versus if I leave, you're going to tell me that there's no guarantee that the job will still be there? How much are you valuing your employees? How much are you valuing your team members? Why should you even want them to have to make that choice? You think it's easy for them? You think they want to leave? Now, you do got some people that be trying to system and they be trying to get over. Well, I remember around COVID time, a lot of people call out, oh, everybody calling out because of COVID. And sometimes they was calling out, they didn't even really have COVID, wasn't in contact with nobody with COVID. They just didn't want to go to work. Okay, COVID had made some people got lazy during COVID because they didn't want to work, and unemployment was paying more than what people was making anyway. So they was ready to collect their unemployment. They wasn't trying to work. And now COVID over, and it's like, oh, so, well, it's not over. Excuse me. Let me correct that. Now everybody is back to work, and things got back open. And it's like, oh snap, the unemployment check stopped coming. What you got to do? Go get a job. Go work, start that business that you should have started during COVID, do what it was that you wanted to do while it was during COVID. But that was an opportunity for people to really, they were able to call out, they were able to, show like, no, I'm not going to be able to make it. Or people were dealing with a lot of deaths in their family. People was dealing with a lot of sickness and illness because COVID is real. And people were really, hurt and damaged by it. And it definitely made an impact on our world that we live in. So at that time, yeah, absolutely. But you're going to tell somebody that if they leave because their relative is in the emergency room on their way to the hospital, or in the ambulance on their way to the hospital, that if they leave, their job may not be there when they get back. At that point, I don't even want the job. I don't even want the job. And I told them that, I said, listen, if it comes down where your job can replace you tomorrow. So if you are going to put something else like your family and all that stuff behind a job that will replace you tomorrow, that's really showing like, dang, that's sad. And they can tell you that they will replace you or this job may not be here. No, I don't agree with that. I don't lead like that. I don't have that in my business. I don't have that with my team that I lead now, that I lead now. I do not do that with my team because that's just not cool. You don't want nobody to treat you like that. Everybody is human. Everybody deserves empathy. Understand how it feels to walk in someone else's shoes, because you don't want anybody to threaten your job or to make you feel unworthy, or like you're replaceable, which, I mean, 99.9% of people are replaceable on their job. That's just facts. It might not be 99.9, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close. So just make sure that you value yourself, you value your team, you lead. Us leaders, us out here leading the world today, we need to lead with empathy. And the next thing that this does is it also drives higher performance. Now, you may be wondering, how does leading with empathy drive higher performance? Because people are going to like their job more. People are going to enjoy working with you more. I don't have any issues that comes out of my team that work for me or that work underneath me that directly reports to me. I'll reach out. Hey, you have any questions or concerns? You have any issues? What's going on? If they have problems, they can communicate it with me. If it's something that's going on personally or at home and they have to take a day off or two, I understand. So when they show up to work, or they show up, they log in or whatever it is, they show up ready. They show up ready to perform. I don't have no issues with performance because they understand that I understand that they are human. They understand that I lead with empathy. Not only do they understand it, they see it. So they show up differently. Now I've created a culture and they show up differently when they work, driving a higher productivity rate and higher performance. And the fourth thing that leading with empathy does is it creates a morale among the staff and the team. Our team is like, I call it like my family away from home because it truly is. We have this morale where everyone rallies around each other. We celebrate each other's wins. We celebrate each other's successes that's happening in life. Like my immediate supervisor is getting married, so we had a whole engagement party for him after work, which was amazing. My When I had my son, they were sending me gifts for like baby shower because it was during COVID. I had a COVID baby, so they were sending me gifts and stuff to my home for a baby shower gifts. Someone have a death in the family, we're sending flowers to the funeral for our condolences, things of that nature. It's really like a big family that supports each other, that's there for each other. And not only are we there for each other at work, but we're also there in supporting each other in our regular life. And that makes a difference. It creates a morale among us when we see each other. Now, we don't see each other all the time because we will work remotely a good bit of time, especially since COVID happened. But when we do get around each other, it's like, hey, how's everything going? I haven't seen you in a while. We celebrate each other. We love on each other because it creates more of a staff and, oh my God, like the culture, the morale, the excitement. People perform and they show up different when they appreciate it. So my tips for you, my leadership tip for you is to lead with empathy. Make sure that you understand how it feels to walk in someone else's shoes. Sometimes it's easy to be the boss and say, this is what I said and that's it. But you also have to understand that everyone is human. Be the leader that you want to have, or be the leader that you wish you had. Be the boss that you wish you had. Make sure that you have that communication with your team and with your staff. It will definitely create a more cohesive team. It will definitely enhance your communication skills because they'll feel more open to talking with you and going over things with you, sharing their concerns with you. How good does it feel to say, hey, I have a question about this, or I don't necessarily understand this. Can you assist me? Or I'm not sure that's the best possible route. Okay, well, what do you think? How do you think we should go about it? That's amazing when you can have that enhanced communication with your team. It also drives higher performance because when people are appreciated, they show up differently. When they feel like they are seen and heard, they show up differently. They perform differently and they perform at their highest. That's why they are giving a higher performance rate. And then it also creates that wonderful staff morale, that culture that you're looking for within your organization. So make sure that you definitely lead with empathy, and we will now transition into part 2 of our show. Our metaphor, well, phrase for this week is, of course, going to go hand in hand with our word of the week, empathy. I really like this, and I hope you like this as well. So it goes like this: people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. That's deep. And it's very, very true. So I'm going to say it one more time because it resonates. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. How many times do we encounter with people in our lives and you can remember an exact moment with this person? It's not because what they said, it's not because what they did, it's because how you felt in that moment. I remember going to third grade. I had an amazing third grade teacher. He was real dope. And I remember how he made us feel the first day when we came in. He made us feel so welcome and excited about learning because he started rapping. He came up with a whole rap for us, and it was just like I felt excited. I felt ready to learn. I showed up differently to class. How often have you had people that made you feel like, I don't know if I want to work with this person, or who on the schedule? Because if so and so working, I might not want to go in. I might call in if this manager is here. But if that manager there, oh, I love working with them because it's how they make you feel. A lot. We are human. When our feelings are involved in our decision making. Now, some people can make decisions without having their feelings involved, but your first response or your first reaction is usually based off of your feelings, and then you have to give yourself some time to allow it to resonate to decide if this is something that you want to follow through with or not. But your feelings is the first thing that really shows you, you know, if it's something that you like, if it's something that you don't like, if it's something that you will remember. So always think about that as a leader. As a leader, how are you making someone feel? Because they are not going to remember what you said. They're not going to always remember what you did, but they will remember how you made them feel. I had a conversation with one of my direct reports, and I said, hey, how are you feeling so far about the job? I just did a 90-day kind of evaluation. How's everything going? How are you feeling? How are you adapting and adjusting? And her response was, I absolutely love it. I've never worked in an organization or under someone who had the questions that you asked, even you asking me when we got on the phone, how are you doing? She said, I've never had that before. So I absolutely love this team. I love working with you all, and I love the atmosphere, the environment, the culture. It's like you're more than just a number. You're more than just your badge or your ID. And that is what will make a difference in your team. And that's what will make a difference in your team's performance, as well as the growth and the environment and the culture that you cultivate. So lead with empathy. That's it. If you are a fan of the show, please like, comment, and subscribe to at Dr. Q the Coach on all social media platforms. This was an amazing episode. I am so excited, and I will, of course, be dropping more and more leadership tips for you all. Please be on the lookout because the book, workbook, and course is coming soon on leadership development and leadership success. And always remember that the sky is not the limit because there are footprints on the moon. I'll see you next week. Peace.